Rainbow Six Siege has a crazy number of weapon skins that have been released over the years. That's bound to happen when there are 75 different operators, each with their own unique loadouts and weapons. However, as the seasons have gone on, some skins have become extremely rare, and the release of the R6 marketplace has allowed many players with these skins to rake in thousands of dollars worth of R6 credits. So in today's video, I want to go through the rarest skins in R6 to determine what is the rarest skin in the entire game. Now, one thing I want to make clear before going into the skins themselves is that I will not be covering any skins that were re-released into the celebration packs. This is because many of these skins are no longer even close to being rare, and so including them in this video would kind of defeat the point. Now, the first skin that I actually think is worth discussing and is probably still somewhat rare is the Bartlett University skin. This was a reward for completing the Article 5 situation, which has now been completely removed from the game, and a bug made it only obtainable up until Operation Commanding Force, meaning that it is a somewhat limited skin. Now, because it was given away for free as a reward for just completing a situation, there probably are a lot of these skins sitting on people's accounts who played before Article 5 was removed. So it's definitely not the rarest skin in the game by any means, or even a contender for it, but it's still somewhat rare because you're never going to be able to get access to it again. And the next set of pretty rare skins are the R6 Phase 1 skins, specifically for orgs that are no longer in the program. Those include SK Gaming's 2018 skin for Twitch, Mouse Sports 2018 skin for Vigil, and Immortals 2018 skin for Mira's Vector. These skins cost 240 R6 credits, 150 R6 credits, and 387 R6 credits in the marketplace respectively. The reason these skins are somewhat rare is because these orgs were in the R6 esports program for very long, and so their skins were removed from sale pretty quickly after they were released, and they haven't been re-released since, so there's only a limited amount of these in circulation. A skin that was released way earlier and that is way rarer is the Ryoku skin. This is one of Red Crow's seasonal skins. However, it has not been re-released in the celebration packs, and so it is worth 26,000 R6 credits on the marketplace, and there aren't very many people selling it. And the same thing goes for the Amazonia Skull Rain seasonal skin, because it was not re-released in celebration packs or in the shop at any point. It's worth about 6,500 R6 credits despite it not looking the best. However, it's still a pretty rare skin worth mentioning since there's not a whole lot of them out there. Now, a skin that you can technically still get, but I think is still quite rare, is the Ablaze weapon skin for Habana's Type 89. This skin is given to players who buy the Habana figurine, and this figurine is $70. So this Ablaze skin is technically a $70 skin. A lot of people don't even know that the figurine exists, and those that do probably won't buy it just to get access to a weapon skin. So there's not a whole lot of these in circulation, and most skins that get attached to a physical item stay quite rare because many people aren't willing to spend that kind of money just to get access to a weapon skin. Now, the Porter skin is so rare that it was a skin that I didn't even know existed until researching for this video. This was a skin given to players who bought the Year 1 pass, and it's exclusive to the 552 Commando on IQ, and it was only given to players between December 1st, 2015 and February 8th, 2016. Because there were so few players playing around this time, and because of how buggy the game was, there are very few people who actually have this skin. However, because it was available for a somewhat long time frame, it's hard to tell exactly how many are out there, which is why I don't have it super far into this video. Now, after the Porter skin, we have a more recent skin that's been added to the game. However, this skin is still pretty rare, and that is the Piercing Vision skin for the MP5K. This was given as a drop through the marketplace at the CJX reveal, and only 5,000 players were given it. So there is a very limited amount of them on the market, and we know exactly how many there are. It's hard to tell how many of these other skins that I'll be discussing in this video have, but knowing that these have 5,000, they're definitely not going to be the rarest skin in the game, but they are definitely up there as pretty rare. Now, some fan favorite weapon skins that are extremely rare are the Gold Dust skins, and these were Pro League skins released between Season 2 and Season 4 of R6 Pro League, and they were sold for real money. Right now, these skins go for anywhere between 4,400 and 26,000 R6 credits, depending on what weapon you're trying to buy it for. They are pretty rare though, because there's not a whole lot of sale orders out there for them, and because you had to be playing the game at such an early stage in the game's lifespan, I doubt there's very many of these skins actually out there in the wild. And the same thing goes for the Glacier skins. These are skins that you can buy in the marketplace between 4,200 and 115,000 R6 credits, and this was part of some old esports skins that were introduced in Operation Black Ice that were sold in a bundle together, and you can see the remnants of this on the Xbox store. These are likely Siege's most popular skins, which is why they're so expensive on the marketplace. However, they are still pretty rare as well. Another extremely sought after skin that's quite rare is the Spellbound skin for the R4C. This is a skin available in the marketplace right now for 99,000 R6 credits at the time of writing, and it was a skin given to players in Year 7 who played in a 4-stack with brand new players for 5 full matches. Many didn't bother to do this challenge because it was really difficult. You had to get 3 of your friends who had never played Siege before to log on and play 5 games with you, which is not an easy task. You had to know people who had never played Siege before, and you had to convince them to actually get the game. Now, hard to Attack isn't a very popular skin, however, it is pretty rare because it was rewarded to players who played near Valentine's Day in 2016, and it is a universal skin available on all weapons. This was extremely early in the game's lifespan. As you guys know, Siege released in December of 2015, and so this was just 3 months after the game came out. So you had to have been playing the game basically since launch, so I guarantee you there are very few of these skins out there, and the same thing goes for the Lucky skin. This was awarded to players for St. Patrick's Day in 2016, and so anyone who logged on into Siege between March 3rd and March 18th got access to it. And it's a universal skin like Heart Attack. It was also awarded to players for free, so like I said with Heart Attack, it can't be a contender for the rarest skin in the game. However, it's still worth mentioning because of how few people probably have it, since you had to play between a specific time frame all the way back in 2016. Now, the Pro League Grade Season 1 skins are another set of Pro League skins like Glacier that released around the same time that are extremely rare. And each of them was only available for 1 gun respectively, unlike Glacier. Because of these skins were released in Black Ice just after the game launched, there probably weren't even a lot of players playing who could buy these skins. And even if they were playing, there were probably even more players that refused to spend money on the game because of how buggy it was. So there are probably very few of these out there. However, we'll never truly know because they're not actually on the marketplace. And the same thing goes for the Fire skin. The Fire skin was awarded to players who played the beta, and it is a universal skin. We have no idea how many players actually got access to the beta, and so we don't have exact numbers on how many of these are in the wild. And since it probably will never be released into the marketplace, we'll probably never know. However, skins that are even rarer than the Fire skin are the VIP ticket skins. These skins go for between 270,000 and 580,000 on the R6 marketplace, depending on which skin you buy. And they were given to players who went to the 6 Invitational in 2018 and 2019. The reason these skins are rare is because you had to buy an $150 VIP ticket to the 6 Invitational. And on top of that, you had to pay for all the other expenses that come along with going to a 6 Invitational. So many players didn't have the opportunity to actually go to the event. So the only players that have access to these skins are the most dedicated players who have been around and willing to support the game since 2018. Now, Jumper is another weapon skin that I didn't know existed until I was researching for this video. And it was one of the first skins added back in December 2015, and it could be purchased in the store for Renown. It was accidentally released to everyone via Ubisoft Club for a short period of time because of a bug. However, it was swiftly removed afterwards. And since then, it has not been re-released into the game. Because this skin was added super early on in the game's lifespan and you had to buy it for Renown, many players probably don't even know this gun skin exists, and those that did play back then probably didn't purchase it. And the same thing goes for the Ralphie skin. This was a skin given away to players who played around Christmas time in 2015, and it was given to them for free. Because it was given away for free to anyone who logged in, you could make an argument that it is rarer than the Jumper skin. However, since the Jumper skin was in the store for a longer period and it did have a bug that made it purchasable for everyone after it was removed from the store via Ubisoft Club, I think that the Ralphie skin is probably somewhat rarer. You had to get on the game between a 15-day period, and there were not very many players playing around that time, so the Ralphie skin is definitely up there as one of the rarest. And like I mentioned earlier, skins that are attached to physical items typically are pretty rare in Siege, and that same philosophy goes along with the R6 board game skins. This was given to players for supporting the board game's Kickstarter, and multiple of these weapon skins are in the marketplace. However, there are very few sale orders for them because very few people have them. There are the Torn Warding weapon skins, which were given as part of a Legion bundle to all the players who supported the Kickstarter, and then there are the Frostpoint weapon skins that were part of the Ace bundle. There are also headgears and uniforms that were given as well based on the tier players spent in the Kickstarter. However, because this video is specifically talking about weapon skins, I won't go into too much detail about them. Because of the board game Kickstarter being so expensive, they were tiers worth $250 to $500. A lot of these skins were pretty rare because it was given to people who spent a lot of money on the Kickstarter. However, the Rudolph skin is even rarer, and that's because it was released on Thermite's 556 in the store during Christmas of 2015, just like the Jumper skins. However, the Rudolph skin was bought with R6 credits, meaning that players had to spend money to get it. This skin doesn't look very good, so very few players actually spent the R6 credits to get it. Now, the Peacock skin was a skin given to players who played the Alpha, and it is another universal skin. Because the Alpha had so few players involved in it, this is a very rare skin. However, a skin that many of you will likely not expect being this late into this video is the Siege Champions Program skin. This was a Rook bundle given to community members via an invite-only program Ubisoft did in 2021. Only content creators, cosplayers, artists, and other leaders in the community qualified to get access to it. And based on what I've been able to gather from tweets and other content creators announcing that they got access to it, I'm fairly certain that there are under 100 accounts that have access to the skin, which makes it extraordinarily rare. And there are probably about the same amount of accounts accounts who have access to the frontline skin. This is given to Ubisoft employees only, and so because of that, it is extremely uncommon to find in-game, especially legitimately. Many people will cheat these skins onto their account, so you can encounter them pretty commonly. However, it's more likely that if you see a player using the skin that they're a cheater rather than they're an actual Ubisoft employee. However, the rarest skin by far in Siege that many players don't even know exists is the European flag skin. This was an unreleased skin that was in a dev version of the game back in 2018. So I'm sure most of you will be like, why is this skin included in this video if it hasn't released? Well, the reason is because it was actually used by a lot of pro players in LAN games of the time, since they played on the unreleased dev version of the game. So since this skin has actually been used by players in real games, and it's also been memorialized in Pro League gameplay, I figured it should be included in this video despite it never releasing to the game itself. And anyways, that wraps up today's video. Let me know if you think I missed any weapon skins, and let me know if you agree with my choice for the rare skin in Siege in the comments down below. If you enjoyed today's video, I make Siege content just like this twice a week, so go subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter if you don't miss the next upload. If you want to watch another video just like this one, a video will be popping up on your screen right now that I'm sure you'll all enjoy. I'll see you next time, friends, and peace.